Welcome to Matt's Metalworking. In this video I'll be showing you how to replace a damaged cord on an angle grinder. For this video I do have 3 different examples using a large 7 to 9 inch capacity angle grinders. The disassembly for each of these grinders do vary, so this should provide a fairly good understanding for what to expect. A cord should be replaced whenever you see any deterioration, cuts, cracks, or any other form of damage in the cord which can jeopardize your safety and others around you. First one here is a Fein. Handled disassembly procedures will vary, and depending on the age of your tools, or if someone has already disassembled it before, sometimes fasteners can get lost and replaced with things that just fit close enough. For this, there is 4 screws holding on the handle to the main body. Unfortunately, it can't be fully disconnected from the main body, therefore the handle does need to be split down in half. Again, there will be more screws holding that together. These handles are typically packed with components, and everything has a specific place. To be safe, you may want to take pictures during the disassembly process so you do have a reference when putting everything back together. Here you can see the switch along with where the wires are connected. The cord will be clamped into place, and this is to prevent the cord from pulling out. It has a strain relief to reduce any added stress on the cord when bending. Remove those 2 screws. Now the switch can be lifted out. Here are the contacts. The wire is clamped into place on the switch terminals. Loosen those screws to remove the wires. Make note of which colored wire goes where. White is on the silver terminal, and this is known as a neutral. Black goes on the gold terminal, and this is known as a hot or power wire. Then there will be a green terminal, which is for the green wire, and that is the ground. Once that wire is out, the strain relief can also be slid off. This grinder only requires a 2-conductor wire that consists of a power and neutral. You'll either have a 2 or 3-conductor wire. This can depend on your grinder. Next is moving on to the size of the wire. All grinders shown in the video are 15 amp, therefore you'll need a wire sized accordingly, and this can also be affected by the length of the cord used. The cord for the grinder should be anywhere from 3 to 6 feet depending on your preference. It's also better to be oversized than undersized. The exterior casing was cut off using a razor knife. Be extremely careful not to cut the insulator on the wires inside. If that happens, cut that section off and then start over. There will be paper or fiber separators inside, and that also needs to be cut flush with the exterior casing. Using a wire stripper, remove the insulator, about 1/4 inch, but this can vary depending on the terminals. Next to no conductor should be exposed outside the terminal connection. However, that conductor should be firmly clamped inside without the chance of it pulling out. Install the wire clamp so the components inside are in their proper places. Too much wire inside the handle can cause assembly issues. Here's a close-up before everything gets put back together. Now for reassembly of the handle, I did screw on the 1/2 of the handle in place first. Made sure all the components were in place, then installed the other side. I did go over all the components with contact cleaner and removed any dirt from the inside. The safety lock was also seized, so that was repaired as well. When putting the handle back together, make sure no wires get pinched in the process. For the plug, again these are available in 2 or 3 conductor, so pick the correct one as needed for your grinder. These also have amperage ratings as well, and that is typically stamped on the casing. This is a 2-conductor plug as shown by the 2 prongs and is rated for 15 amps. Disassembly can vary depending on the design. This model has screws on the face. Once removed, you can see the contacts inside. Install the rear cap on the cord and make sure the rear clamp is loose. Strip the exterior casing to the appropriate length. This casing should be inside the plug. Cut out the exposed paper or fiber separator. Then strip the wires to the length of the terminal inside the plug. Again, match up the black with the gold and the white with the silver. Make sure those clamp terminals are tight. If not, they can cause heat due to a poor connection and loosen the connection further, causing issues. Reinstall the outer cap and then tighten the screws. Then tighten the clamp on the plug for the cord. Once done, as you can see, the grinder is functioning correctly and it's safe to use. Next is using an old Black & Decker as example number 2. I have already disassembled the unit as it did need quite a bit of cleaning. However, I do have assembly footage further on in the video and you'll see that in a moment. Again, there will be screws holding on the handle to the main body. Once those were removed, there's a length of wire inside to separate the two components. The switch is a different design here, and it needs to be removed to access the terminal connections. 2 screws are required to be removed from the switch. Any paper separator on the inside was also removed. There is a 3rd screw on the inside which does hold on the ground wire. The wire clamp on the handle has been removed, and that is held on with 2 screws as well. The switch needs to be pushed out slightly. The switch plunger is also then pushed out of the casing, and then the switch can be fully removed along with the cord. Now the power and neutral wires can be removed. This switch uses screw-on ring terminals, which is clamped onto the wire. I did cut one off so I knew its location. The grinder requires a 3-conductor instead. Again, it's rated at 15 amps. Install the strain relief first. Match up the length of exposed wire required using the original cord. That casing was also cut off using a razor knife, and any paper or fiber separator from the inside was removed. I do have new ring terminals, which have plastic insulators installed on the crimped portions. Make sure those ring terminals do match up your wire gauge along with the holes for the screws. A razor knife was used to remove the plastic insulators. Sometimes these insulators can cause fitment issues. Strip the insulators off the wires. Crimp the terminals into place. Once done, here you can see them installed. Again, make sure you do have a good quality crimp, as a loose connection can cause heat, resulting in more issues. Install the wire into the handle. Install the ground wire with the screw in the handle. Next is connecting the wires to the switch in their proper locations. Make sure all those screwed connections are tight and the terminals won't interfere with any components. This design is a bit tricky to get the switch back into place. Make sure the wires aren't pinched. They do need to be twisted back into place. When the switch is going back in, the plunger also needs to be installed in reverse of removal. After it's all back together, install any paper barriers which were removed. Then there will be a gasket which goes between the handle and body. The handle is then fastened onto the body. 4 screws hold it into place. Pull the cord out slightly if it needs to be. Don't put any strain on the wires inside. Then install the cord clamp and tighten the screws. This is a new cord end that was saved. It's a 3-conductor to match the wire and is also rated at 15 amps. This type of plug has 2 screws holding it together, and it splits apart so you can gain access to the terminals inside. The casing on the cord is removed to the appropriate length. Cut out the exposed paper or fiber separator. Then strip the wires to the correct length for the terminals inside. Install the exposed conductor in the wire clamps and ensure they are tight. This plug has a built-in pinch clamp instead, which does go around the case when closed up. Tighten up the screws for the exterior of the case and make sure the wire is firmly held into place. As a third example, again I have already disassembled the unit. This is a Metalworking grinder, and it has a slightly different switch design, but a similar handle to the Fein grinder. It's also a 3-conductor and rated at 15 amps. The power and neutral conductors use a ring-type terminal. As for the ground, this uses a Marek connector instead. This concludes the rest of my video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a comment below and throw a like my way. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more metalworking videos. Thank you for watching.